All right, welcome to Shitcoins Review. Today I have a special guest, Nipan Gupta. He's a cybersecurity expert from Deloitte and also the founder of Veni Vidi VC podcast, where he looks into blockchain, startups, and he helps people understand a little bit easier, a little bit better. Yeah. How are you doing?
Very good. I don't know if I would call myself an expert, but I definitely spent around 9 years working for Fortune 500 companies, building their cybersecurity expertise, so on and so forth.
Yeah, if that's not an expert, then I guess I don't know what is. All right, so he suggested that we should look into Zcash, the privacy coin, and give you guys an honest opinion what we think about, if you should look into it or not.
All right. Yeah, I totally think it's one of the coins that has been underrated, undervalued, under-discussed for sure. I think it's something that can fundamentally change how we record transactions on blockchain. So we should definitely talk about it.
All right. So what is Zcash? Zcash is a privacy coin, if you will. It's been designed so that when you do your transactions on the blockchain, it is not readily available or visible to the public if you don't want it to. Is that correct?
That's precisely right. When the researchers at Johns Hopkins University, a cybersecurity focused group, they were looking into Bitcoin, they were doing some protocol analysis, some research on what are the fundamental flaws, what are some of the vulnerabilities that attackers could exploit Bitcoin on. One of the things that they focused on was privacy. And they soon found out that all the transactions on Bitcoin are available for the public to see. Which means that if you want to be privately transferring money from one place to the other, you can never do that. So they came up with this protocol called ZK Snarks, and that's a mathematical proof that even Ethereum is going to adopt. So that's the proof they are going to use in Zcash, and that's how they're going to make all the transactions private if the user wants it to be.
So can I ask you, why is the privacy such an important concept for consumers and potentially enterprises and businesses?
Yeah, I mean, anything to do with transactions means that you should have a choice in making it available for regulators, for government, for anybody in the public eye to see. It goes back to the whole concept of it is my choice to share anything that I want to share, right? So why should the government have access to the transactions that I'm making? So for example, let's say I want to give $100 to you as a gift. Sure, you will pay tax on it if you receive it, right? But why should the government know when I sent them to you or how I sent them to you? That should be completely your and my business only.
So you can see why governments may not be too happy about that is when you can't track or follow the transactions in other blockchain protocols like Bitcoin, etc. You can see it. It's very public. You can scan it. You can see which wallet it went to. It's all available. And you can see why the government may not be happy with that because when we do private deals, money exchanges, like you said, why do I have to necessarily pay the government? So it's a bit of an arms race, but that is why Zcash came out. And that's, I guess, why it has such a big opportunity, right?
No, I think it's an important opportunity as well because protocols like Bitcoin are a non-starter for enterprise adoption, right? Why would enterprises want governments and other competitors to know what they're doing in terms of transactions, right?
So all the information is exposed, if you will, right?
Exactly, right? So if I'm an enterprise, let's say I am Wells Fargo Bank and I have private deals going on, I'm buying another company. Why would I let somebody on the other side of the blockchain see what I'm doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So that's an interesting thought, and that's where if you look at the analysis of the opportunity, it's really, really strong. All right.
I truly believe that, right? This is a coin coming out of probably some of the strongest academic as well as technologists and researchers in the cryptocurrency as well as cybersecurity community. So that means in terms of bringing mathematical proofs to life, they're probably the best, right? They've also worked on other technology infrastructure projects like Tahoe, LAFS. So that's like a file system that Nathan Wilcox and Zuko Wilcox worked on. So these guys are really knowledgeable as well as good at what they do. So I really believe in the team to execute on this. And in fact, one of the best things I like about the project is how they divided the allocations. So 90% of the cryptocurrency is available for the miners to mine, and then 10% is actually allocated to the company for making profits and then sharing it within the investors. And in fact, you'd see some amazing names like Naval Ravikant up there, who is one of the biggest voices in cryptocurrency and blockchain ecosystem.
Okay, so you can tell that the team is very solid. If we look at that as valuation, they are cybersecurity experts with an enterprise background. Thus, they developed this. And the hype, if you will, is a lot of people know about Zcash. It's one of the top tier privacy coins out there. I guess in comparison, other ones are maybe Monero.
And at the time of recording this video, we saw every coin is being valued around $300. This is a very bearish market time, by the way, bear in mind. But I've seen Zcash up to $800 as well. It's definitely way beyond $1 billion market cap.
So in terms of hype, it's very strong. The team is very solid, and the opportunity is massive because part of the reason why people want to do blockchain, they want to stay anonymous and want to protect their information. So using that as a summary, how would you rate it? Is it considered a diarrhea, something to stay away from? A turd, something okay with some potential, but we're not sure yet? Or is it the shit,
Before we shitify it, we should compare it with Monero.
Sure.
So Monero is another privacy-focused blockchain project or a cryptocurrency that was introduced to the public probably about a couple years ago. And interestingly, the origins of Monero are very similar to origins of Bitcoin. A pseudonymous programmer who came up with the blockchain and the concept, discussed it on public forums, and then sort of disappeared and let the community take the project forward, right? However, one of the biggest differences between Monero and Zcash, although they claim to offer very similar guarantees in privacy, is that Zcash offers ZK snarks, the cryptographic algorithm by mathematical proof that's being even adopted by Ethereum, and it's already been vetted by the academic community. On the other hand, Monero's cryptographic algorithm is private. So nobody has a review on it. Nobody has the understanding of what's the mathematical proof behind it. So I wouldn't place too much trust in Monero's privacy algorithms.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
But then the structure of Monero versus Zcash is also slightly different, right?
Yeah.
Zcash is very central with a strong leadership team, while Monero is more community-driven, right? Like you said.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And in cryptocurrency community, it's a bit of a red herring. You never know what happens, while we have failures like Tezos, which failed due to governance issues, we may have success stories like Ethereum, which were successful because of community. Either or, this could be a boon or a bane in case of Monero. I think it's too early to tell. But I would say if I was an enterprise, and I do deal with enterprises on a daily basis, I would go for Zcash if I'm building a blockchain with a store of value.
Okay, so that being said, what would be on the shitometer? We're talking diarrhea, dirt, or the shit?
This is the solid shit. Everybody should look out for Zcash. Try and invest in it if you can, if that's the money that you can spend easily, and definitely track it to see more updates on this project.
All right, guys, so that's Nipan Gupta. He gave it the shit as a rating for Zcash. Follow him on Venividi VC Podcast. Find him on LinkedIn. Information is below. If you have any questions for him or for us, just toss it in the comments. I'm sure he'll give his thoughts on it for sure.
Yeah, tag me on Twitter. That's the easiest way to reach me.
And if anything else you guys want to know, put the information down below, and we catch you later for another Shitcoin Reviews. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.